Technologies of the past have always fascinated us with their uniqueness and boldness. Many of them were ahead of their time, while others were abandoned due to accidents, costs, or dangers. In this video, we will take a journey into the past to uncover the mysteries of forgotten breakthroughs, from airships that once ruled the skies to nuclear batteries that are now a thing of the past. Which of these technologies might make a comeback, and which ones are gone for good? Let's get started. Airships, or airships in the early 20th century, were a symbol of luxury and progress. They could transport passengers over great distances, offering unmatched comfort. The most famous airship, the Hindenburg, could cross the Atlantic Ocean in just a few days. But it was this very airship that was linked to the biggest disaster, which shattered the reputation of dirigibles. In 1937, the Hindenburg exploded on landing, killing dozens of people. The reason was the use of hydrogen, which turned out to be extremely explosive. After this, airships were practically forgotten. However, engineers are now returning to the idea of airships, using safe helium and modern technologies. Maybe the future will indeed bring them back to the skies. Hydrogen as a fuel has long been considered the perfect solution for cars. It provides huge energy with minimal emissions. The byproduct of burning hydrogen is pure water. In the 1970s, companies like BMW were actively developing hydrogen-powered cars. One of the most well-known models was the BMW Hydrogen 7, powered by liquefied hydrogen. However, mass production of such cars never became a reality. The main reasons are the difficulty of storing the fuel, the expensive infrastructure needed for refueling, and the high risk of fire. But cars aren't the only area where hydrogen has been used. Today, technologies based on this gas are making a comeback in the transportation industry. Modern engineers are working on not just ground vehicles, but also airborne ones. For example, hydrogen-powered airplanes. These projects promise to significantly reduce the carbon footprint in aviation, which remains one of the main sources of atmospheric pollution. One of the leading companies in this field is the one that created the hydrogen airplane High Flyer 2. This aircraft is capable of making short commercial flights without emitting carbon dioxide. The European company Airbus is also actively working on hydrogen-powered airplanes, promising to present fully functional models by 2035. However, aviation faces the same challenge as with cars' safety and infrastructure. Hydrogen-powered aircraft require new airports with unique refueling systems, as well as special containers for transporting fuel. Hydrogen technologies are back in the spotlight. If engineers can overcome the technical barriers, these engines could become the foundation for eco-friendly transportation in the future. From cars to airplanes, autonomous boats of the future. The idea of creating a boat that can operate without a crew came about back in the mid-20th century. The first such devices were developed by the military for reconnaissance and mine sweeping. One well-known example is the American Project Sea Hunter, an autonomous vessel capable of traveling thousands of miles, collecting data and performing tasks without human intervention. But civilian use of autonomous boats never really took off. The reasons include navigation challenges, high development costs, and safety concerns. Autonomous boats. They had to deal with unpredictable sea conditions and avoid collisions with other vessels, which turned out to be a pretty tough task. However, technology continues to evolve. Modern autonomous boats are used to explore the oceans, monitor the environment, and deliver cargo. It's possible that in the future, such devices will become an integral part of our lives. Steam cars were the first vehicles that could match horses in speed. At the end of the 19th century, such machines were popular in Europe and the USA. They didn't require expensive fuel and instead used regular water instead of gasoline. However, steam cars had one major drawback: time to heat up. To get the car moving, you had to wait up to half an hour for the water to boil. When gasoline engines came on the scene, steam cars quickly disappeared from the roads. Today, this technology is considered outdated, but some enthusiasts are restoring steam engines to show what they look like in action. Space technologies of the past. Space has always been a place where technologies are tested to the limits of their capabilities. But not all of them stand the test. One of those technologies was the disposable capsules used to bring the crew back to Earth. These capsules, used during the Apollo and early Soviet eras, ensured safe landings, but were destroyed with each launch. As a result, each mission required the creation of a new capsule from scratch, which greatly increased the cost of the space program. Today, disposable capsules are almost never used, replaced by reusable spacecraft such as the SpaceX Dragon and Boeing Starliner. However, disposable technologies have left their mark, inspiring the development of modern equipment for emergency landings and rescue in extreme conditions. Another example of forgotten technologies is gyroscope-based orientation systems. Before the advent of high-precision GPS and laser systems, many spacecraft used mechanical gyroscopes to navigate in space. These systems, while reliable, suffered from wear and tear and needed regular replacement. Despite their obsolescence, old space technologies continue to amaze us with their simplicity and genius. They remind us of how far we've come and how much more there is to explore. Maglev trains are magnetically levitating trains that literally levitate above the rails. They have no moving parts, which means they provide an incredibly smooth ride. The first maglev train appeared in Japan and quickly became a symbol of high technology. These trains could reach speeds of up to 300 miles per hour, making them faster than most airplanes over short distances. However, the reality turned out to be harsh. Maglev trains cost a fortune. Just one track can cost tens of times more than a regular railway. For example, the Shanghai Pudong Maglev in China cost the country over $1 billion for a short line that's only 18 miles long. Despite their advantages, maglevs remain more of a tourist attraction than a means of mass transport. Today, their development has slowed down, giving way to other technologies like the Hyperloop or electric trains. However, maglevs are still seen as a symbol of engineering excellence and could make a comeback if cheaper construction solutions are found. Concept cars ahead of their time. Concept cars have always been a playground for experimentation. Car manufacturers were creating vehicles that looked like they were straight out of a sci-fi movie to showcase their technologies. For example, the GM Firebird, inspired by jet planes, could reach incredible speeds thanks to its gas turbine engine. Another Cadillac Cyclone model had built-in collision avoidance radars decades before modern autopilot systems were available. But most concept cars remained experiments because their technologies were too expensive or complex for mass production. Today, concept cars have become more practical, but they still mainly serve as a way to promote brands. The story of forgotten prototypes reminds us that dreams of the future sometimes outpace the capabilities of the present. Flying cars. Was there a chance? Flying cars are a dream that has excited the minds of inventors for centuries. Just 100 years ago, American engineer Moult Taylor created the Aerocar, a car that could transform into an airplane. In just a few minutes, this machine could accelerate to 60 miles per hour on the road and 100 miles per hour in the air. However, despite its success, the Aerocar never went into mass production. The main reason is the difficulty of control. To use such a vehicle, the driver needed not only to know how to drive a car but also to have pilot skills. Plus, in the 1950s, there wasn't the right infrastructure, like airfields near residential areas. Today, interest in flying cars is being revived. Companies like Terrafugia and Palvi are developing modern versions of these vehicles, using lighter materials and automated control systems. However, even today, there are still many barriers. Strict safety laws, the high cost of technology, and the complexity of certification. The dream of flying cars is still alive, but is it still realistic? Or will such vehicles always belong only to science fiction? Submarine planes. The idea of creating a hybrid of an airplane and a submarine sounds like the plot of a spy movie, but in the mid-20th century, it was a serious project. During the Cold War, military engineers were developing devices that could move stealthily underwater and then take to the air. One of these projects was the Soviet Chaika. The device was an airplane with a sealed fuselage, capable of withstanding pressure at depths of up to 200 feet. It could move on the water's surface, dive for a few minutes, and then rise up and take off. However, these projects faced many technical problems. First of all, the materials of that time did not allow for the creation of a reliable hull that would withstand long-term immersion and remain light for flight. Today, submarine planes are seen more as recreational devices. Some companies are creating hybrids for tourists, but their capabilities are far from the ambitions of the Cold War. Amphibious motorcycles. Motorcycles that can ride on land and float on water. Sound like the perfect solution for adventure lovers. British inventor Alan Gibbs unveiled the first amphibious motorcycle, capable of reaching speeds of 50 mph on the road and 10 miles per hour on water. It was called the Amphibicar. However, the amphibians were not as convenient as hoped. Switching from one mode to another took too long, and control in the water was awkward. In addition, these motorcycles required complicated maintenance, which scared off potential buyers. Despite their failure in mass production, amphibians continue to inspire designers. Modern startups are developing new models based on old ideas, using lighter materials and more powerful engines. Maybe motorcycles will catch people's attention again someday. A jetpack is more than just science fiction. The jetpack is a symbol of the dream of flight turned into reality. The first prototypes of such devices appeared many years ago when the military was trying to create a way for soldiers to move quickly on the battlefield. One of the most famous was the Belt rocket belt, which could lift a person up to 30 feet high and fly a distance of up to 200 feet. However, the jetpacks had a lot of drawbacks. Short range, limited fuel supply, and high cost. Moreover, operating them required serious physical training, which made them impractical. Today, jetpacks are making a comeback thanks to companies like Jetpack Aviation. Modern devices have become lighter and safer, and their flight range has increased. Despite this, jetpacks remain more of an attraction for the wealthy than a real means of transportation. Transformer excavators. Transforming excavators. Not only does this sound like something out of a science fiction movie, but it actually existed in real life. These machines were designed to tackle complex tasks in construction and rescue operations. One example was the experimental model from the Italian company Mach. It could change the shape of its supports, adapting to any surface, including rocks and marshy terrain. The transforming excavator looked incredible. Its massive legs could extend, rise, and even move independently of each other. However, these technologies turned out to be too complex and expensive. Maintaining such equipment was a real challenge for operators and engineers. Today, the concept of excavator transformers has been abandoned, but elements of this technology are used in modern robotic machines. For example, in robots used for rescue operations or working in radiation conditions. This is a reminder that even failed ideas can inspire progress. Experimental trains on air cushions. Once, engineering minds focused on creating trains that could levitate above the tracks using air cushions. One of the most famous was the British APT Advanced project. Passenger train experimental hovercraft trains promised to reduce friction and reach incredible speeds, comparable to modern maglevs. However, the project faced a lot of problems. First off, air cushioning trains were really noisy. The sound of the compressors could be heard for miles. Secondly, stability at high speeds left a lot to be desired. The slightest bumps on the track could cause vibrations or even derail the train. Despite the technologies being forgotten, the ideas from these projects have found their way into modern high-speed trains. Many engineers believe that air cushions could make a comeback if the issues of noise and stability can be resolved. Pneumatic transport in cities. In the 19th century, engineers dreamed of replacing noisy and slow horse-drawn carriages with a system of pneumatic tubes. These systems involved moving passenger cars inside sealed tubes. Pipes using the force of vacuum or compressed air. One of the standout examples was Alfred Beech's project in New York. Pneumatic transport allowed passengers to cover short distances quickly and comfortably. But this technology had a major drawback: high construction costs and maintenance complexity. Moreover, these systems couldn't handle a large volume of passengers. Today, pneumatic technologies have found a second life in the form of hyperloops. Despite the differences in scale and technical approach, the idea remains the same: moving people in a confined space at high speeds. Nuclear batteries. NDBs were a real technological breakthrough. These devices used the energy from radioactive decay to generate electricity. Their main advantage was durability. Batteries could operate for decades without replacement. Such technologies were used in the space industry, where reliability and autonomy were crucial, like in rovers or satellites. However, the use of radioactive materials raised concerns. Even the slightest leak could lead to catastrophic consequences. In addition, the process of manufacturing such batteries was expensive and complicated. Today, the idea of NDB is making a comeback thanks to new research. Scientists are developing safe methods for using nuclear energy in miniature devices. Perhaps soon, this forgotten technology will become the foundation for a new energy revolution.